So I just wanted to show real quick how I installed a subwoofer aftermarket system on the Model 3 Highland, the new one. I installed this a few months after it came out last year around September. The problem is the wiring diagrams are different for the Model 3 Highland. Um, the colors for the wires are different, so all the research that I could find about the previous generation didn't work for this one. So I had to find everything on my own. Luckily, Tesla service does offer a diagram of every single electrical connector available on the Model 3 Highland, but there are 900 of them. So I had to individually search each electrical connector to find the connectors for the subwoofers and the door woofers. That's where I grabbed my signal, and the colors too. It shows you the colors. So this is a performance model, so I do have the amplifier in the back. That's where I grabbed my signal, and I have an LOC right there, an ICI2. That's what converts the signal from the amplifier. So I grabbed the signal that goes to the door woofer, the front door woofer from back here, and I sent that to the LOC, and then I have an amplifier, and then I have a relay. So the problem with the model, or Teslas in general, is the fact that when the car turns on, the system does a diagnostic of the power conversion system, which is the penthouse under the back seats, and then the 12-volt battery. If the power does not match, it goes into failsafe. That's why they'll tell you it triggers a bunch of errors when you try to hook up an aftermarket system. The way you avoid that is, that happens when the car is turning on. The car cannot be pulling any power from any other stuff while it's turning on. The way you avoid that is, so right now I have power coming from the penthouse. If you don't know what that is under the rear seat. There is a 12-volt output which goes to the front 12-volt battery. That is what powers it. I grab power from there, and I have a relay set up right here. So this is the power wire coming from the penthouse. Here is my amplifier. Here is my resistor. So this powers all of this, except the relay will not turn on until it receives a 12-volt signal right here. So you can see I have it labeled ground, my power in, power out. This right here will turn on once it gets a signal, and it opens the relay, allows power to flow. So when the car first turns on, the penthouse is powered. Then I have a wire running through a resistor, which powers the amplifier. So the amplifier has capacitors. So when you turn on the car, the capacitors instantly charge, which spikes the voltage and causes the errors to throw. If you do get an error, the power conversion system will stop working as a failsafe temporarily, and that will cause your 12-volt battery to drain, and your car will turn off, and you will need to jump it. Those are the errors that people talk about. If you look on forums or Reddit, the way you avoid that is, you turn on the amplifier and you charge it through a resistor. This slows the current down. You can see this is a 200 watt 4 ohm resistor, enough where the car doesn't detect an error. So this will power the resistor, first power the amplifier. Then I have, if you can see that is a small little timer, a 12-volt timer. What that does is, when it receives power, it has a delay. I programmed it to have a 10-second delay from when it receives power to outputs. So there is 10 seconds after the car turns on where it will power the relay and allow power to flow. That way it avoids the startup diagnostic and prevents any errors. I've had this system for almost 5 months, no errors. Everything works beautifully. These are two 300 watt RMS subwoofers. I am currently pulling up to 1,000. With the old, from what I could see on Reddit of people who have previously used a resistor and a relay system, they used a 12-volt switch in the front. So they would grab a signal from the brake pedal wire and then from a 12-volt signal. That way, once you put your foot on the brake pedal, the power would turn on and power the relay. That would be the delay. I didn't want to do that because I couldn't find anything on the new wiring diagrams and stuff of where I would tap in for the signal, because the Highland was so new and the wiring diagrams were different. So I went with the timer, and it's worked beautifully. it means I can avoid any other wires. So the only 3 wires that I am grabbing from the car are the negative and positive from the speaker for the speaker input and the penthouse power. Because once the power is turned on, the resistor powers the amplifier temporarily. Then the timer starts for 10 seconds. After it's been 10 seconds, it turns on the relay, which allows power to flow, powers the LOC, powers the amplifier, which means I can avoid any other wires, the 12-volt signals from the front, and it makes it so much easier. But I just want to make a quick video, showing for people who are curious. I want to do this. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and I'll try to answer what I can. For the ground, though, I do use a factory ground right behind here, where the wires for the subwoofers, the OEM ones, are connected to for ground. So I just tap that, and yeah, it's a super simple, I wouldn't say simple, but it's a nice system, and everything's been working beautifully.